Yes, David Pullen, a crime prevention design advisor from Belgravia Police, South Westminster. On the subject of drinking outside of pubs, myself and my colleague next to me, we look at all the applications for tables and chairs from a designing out crime point of view, firstly. But the situation over people drinking outside of pubs, I can think of two occasions last summer when a local police inspector actually closed two public houses because of people spilling on the street, which is a very extreme course of action to take, and certainly wasn't very popular with the publican. The only effect it had was the people moving down to the next pub and then standing outside that one. On warm evenings with no air conditioning, it's not in my experience, it's not necessarily the smokers standing outside, it's just people just standing outside in the sunshine. And it's a very difficult problem to control. Police only tend to get involved when highway obstruction is involved, and we tend to leave the other issues towards licensing.
Yes, it's just a follow-on to a supplementary to that, yep, and then the gentleman at the front and the lady right at the front.
Yeah, Gordon Semple, colleague of David, another crime prevention design advisor. The policy that the police operate regarding tables and chairs, the licensing unit sends all tables and chairs applications to the local police division. At Westminster South, we then consult with the local Safer Neighbourhood team to see if they've got any objections to this. If there isn't, then nothing takes place. If there is any concerns, we address it direct back to the council. We also, on a regular basis, request curtilage. Normally, this curtilage would have one entrance, exit only. This was all crime prevention measures. It was around Leicester Square when it all started. You could walk in the curtilage area, walk out with a handbag and be off. But now, with help of the council working together, we have come up with ideas and conditions regarding the curtilage. I understand how this would be difficult to install on a lot of the premises in Soho with the wider footways. But in the busier, wider footways, it is a crime prevention method, and it does control numbers vertically drinking outside.
Please.
Hi, I'm Lee Shine from the Man in the Moon Theatre, Westminster Arts. I apologise if this is not quite the right forum for this, but I'm just curious about the proliferation of these free newspapers that get given out everywhere, which I think cause a tremendous kind of bottleneck for people and a lot of rubbish. Is that licensed? Is that, I mean, do you have any kind of control over that process? But it's, I think, quite dangerous in certain parts of London, certainly at particular times of the day.
Okay, that's an issue which has nothing to do with tonight, but I will deal with it because I have a personal interest in this, and David Shaw will now be busily taking notes on anything I say on this one. We chose not to use a piece of legislation to control free newspapers, and I think that was the right choice because I think newspapers are very important to society, and it's very useful to have them there. We recycle them instead. We've got a voluntary agreement in place with the publishers. I'm currently working on trying to get a voluntary arrangement in place with the publishers on distribution methods, particularly at key transport points and pinch points, Oxford Circus being one of them. So at the moment, no, they're not licensable. If the vendors are causing an obstruction, the police have powers to deal with obstruction on the public highway, and they can be dealt with. It's a matter of, I think, negotiation and enforcement. But thank you. The lady right at the front.
I actually coordinate the neighbourhood watch in my area, and I was wondering whether you do put up notices on premises to tell us as residents how many chairs and tables they're required to have outside. Because what happens is when there's a big group going in, they will actually take the chairs in from inside the premises and put it outside. And it's causing an obstruction for all and sundry. But the other thing I want to bring up is the problem where you have licensed premises and then later it's being used as salsa music classes where they are actually advertising in newspapers and getting money in, and it's causing a really noise pollution within the area I'm living. I live in a very quiet terrace premises. There are 4-star hotels in the area, and this one premises is causing a lot of problem. There are other hotels in the vicinity where guests have come down stairs crying to the receptionist and saying they want to leave the hotel because they can't stand the noise. And I just wondered, when we call out the noise team, they log on all the complaints, but that's the end of it. You get a number and that's it. But this is ongoing. And I wondered how you as a council can actually alleviate all these problems that we encounter.
Oh God. Okay, again that's not an issue which is directly relevant today. I've just drafted a noise strategy, so I am able to talk to you about that, but if we can do that at another time, I'd appreciate it. The gentleman over there.
Kevin Osborne, Culture Quarter London. We're a consortium of arts organisations in the West End, including the National Gallery, Opera House, various others. I was really just going back to a point that was raised over here, which I didn't feel was answered fully. It seemed like quite a common sense suggestion that in order to balance the requirements of the public and also to support, I guess, the needs of the various premises, I mean, the licensing arrangement sounds very sensible. Why wouldn't you charge something to those various licensed premises for the extra capacity that they get from being able to do al fresco dining in order to support the needs of the residents?
I was just going to add to that. I mean, from a planning perspective, rather than the licensing, I mean, there are options. I mean, we would have to investigate whether or not they're already paying through highways, through the occupation of highway space. But there's also the alternative through Section 106. Of doing the same thing. So we'd need to look at what mechanisms already operate through other bits of legislation and where it might be appropriate for planning to step in. But as far as informing the policy approach, that's taken forward as an option for looking at for Section 106 funding.
Yeah, just so there's no misunderstanding on the funding. The council does charge for its tree trading licence to permit the use of tables and chairs on the highway. So the council does get some income from that. But the Act of Parliament, the Street Trading Licence Act of Parliament, if you like, restricts the amount of income that the council is allowed to charge. And although we charge the maximum that we are, that we can, it's obviously probably disproportionate to the commercial gain to the premises, I guess. Yes, it tends to be it's based on the number of tables and chairs, actually. It's not a flat rate fee. It depends on the number of tables and chairs.
I just suggest the council have a look at this as an idea.
No, the point's
because
minuted.
I suspect there's more room in it than you're currently exploiting, and it would help to pay for mitigation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And take some of the tension out of the situation, particularly on the good housekeeping side.
Yep.
Thank you.
All those restaurant owners that love having to apply for that licence every year will love us all even more. Yes. No, I'm being provocative.